It's time to take a look at the latest case from Fractal Design. No, wait, this isn't it. All right. No, that's not it either. Ugh, come on. Hey, we got it. All right, here it is, the Vector RS, completely new and redesigned from the front panel to the top panel, I guess. The Red Devil Radeon RX 5700 XT from PowerColor has arrived. Built on AMD's RDNA architecture and PowerColor's 10-phase Platinum Power Kit, the Red Devil features a triple fan cooler and massive heatsink for improved thermal and acoustic performance. Loaded with a metal backplate, RGB effects, and dual BIOS, the Red Devil is clocked well above other 5700 XTs on the market, ensuring you get maximum gaming performance with no compromises. Check out the link below to learn more. Before we get rolling, I just want to remind you guys that I am a one-man operation over here, and if you want to help support the channel, you can visit the merchandise store at bpscustoms.com, and of course, get subscribed if you're not already. Okay, so where to start with this one? This is the Vector RS from Fractal Design, and from some quick glances at the exterior, it does look remarkably different from their recent offerings. The front and the top panel are angular and almost a little flashy, and the top to bottom addressable RGB lighting strip wraps around and continues back almost all the way to the rear of the case. But a deeper dive here reveals that this is another attempt at polishing up the original Define R6, a case that was released in 2017. Just to clarify, the Fractal R6 was one of, if not the best case to come out that year, and I praised it as such in my launch review. It's still a fantastic choice for a lot of builders and comes with a good feature set, tons of space in a modest footprint, and a reasonable and competitive price of $140. And variety is good. Yes, Fractal is reusing this chassis now for the 5th time, but that just kind of means that there's something out there for everybody. They started with the R6, then went to the S2, then the Meshify S2, then the S2 Vision, and now the Vector RS. However, it's really hard to get excited about a new product when it's not really new. Before we talk about the exterior, let's do a quick refresher on the interior. It's the exact same thing as the R6. The spacing, the layout, the movable rear wall that allows for massive hard drive support, the crazy radiator spacing that allows up to a 420 at the top, a 360 at the front, and even a 280 at the bottom. It's all there. And it still looks and works perfectly. As a non-specific complaint, I do wish that vendors who claim eATX support would consider moving their cable routing grommets slightly outward. As with an eATX board installed, they are completely covered over and routing your 24-pin becomes a logistical headache. But nonetheless, the width of the interior compartment is more than sufficient to handle up to a 285mm MOBO. The back side of the case affords plenty of room for cable management with a spacious PSU shroud, a good amount of depth, Velcro straps, and an included fan hub. And I bet you thought you were looking at the Vector. But no, surprise, this is the R6. But it doesn't matter because they're exactly the same. So how does the Vector RS differentiate itself from its predecessors? Well, that would be the exterior of the case. And to be honest, this does look and feel very different, not only from the Meshify S2, but also from anything Fractal has ever produced. We can start down at the bottom with the feet. They're a new squared off and angular design. They look pretty good and they provide even more clearance than the classic rounded Fractal legs. Moving up to the front of the case is where we take a few, I guess, unexpected turns. Ventilation is provided only by the side grills. Gone is the praiseworthy mesh front we found on the Meshify variants, and gone is the front door from the R6 that you could open or remove entirely for direct airflow. The front of the case is covered by a solid steel panel and a solid glass panel connected by this addressable RGB lighting strip. I do think that the lighting feature is well done. It's bright and a little flashy, and you can control it with the included Adjust R1 controller module. It also can sync with Fractal's excellent Prisma fans if you want it to, as they share a control system. The strip runs the entire vertical span of the case and then up and over to the top panel, all the way back. I'm a little puzzled by the glass pane on the front of the case. it's blacked out, and I've had this issue before with other cases. Why include glass, which is both heavy and expensive, if you're just going to prevent it from being seen through? It would have been really neat to see your intake fans through this half of the case, but we don't get that here. It's just completely opaque. The top of the case continues the same design language, but I hate that it's not flat. Where am I supposed to put my fake plant? The Vector comes with a swappable top panel. You can choose to keep the pre-installed glass for a more eye-catching look, or you can swap in this ventilated steel panel for better airflow and exhaust. This isn't really much of a choice though. If you don't swap the panels, the only exhaust the case has is this tiny rear vent, which is just not enough. Imagine if you mounted a 420mm radiator to the top of this case, like it supports, and the only way air could escape is through this small opening. How choked would those fans get, and how ineffectively would your fancy custom loop operate? The I/O selection up here is pretty good with two USB 3, a USB 3.1 Type-C, and your standard power reset audio selections. So is it good? Yeah, I guess it's pretty good. I'd rather see some better airflow options at the front or the ability to see through the glass. It just seems silly to not have either. What about replacing that front glass with a section of mesh instead? Kind of combine your two worlds here. I think that will actually look pretty dope. The problem arrives when you look at product differentiation and stagnation. We all want to see what's new and different, and this just isn't new or different. It's almost like Fractal felt the pressure to get a little blingy with their case lineup and turn their fantastic, minimalist, functional designs into not Fractal products. Their hallmark for years has been their solid craftsmanship, user-focused, functional aesthetic, and Scandinavian design philosophy. The Define R6 was exactly that. In an era where every manufacturer was loading up with as much RGB as they could, the R6 was a breath of fresh air. The Define S2 was basically the same product, but with a more water cooling focus, which was great. And the Meshify S2 again retained what made the R6 an editor's choice, but improved the airflow. These are all good decisions. But then with the S2 Vision, things started to get a little sideways, and by the time we see the same case for the 5th time and it looks like this, well, I expected more, to be honest, especially since these recent variants have seen a significant bump in price. The Vector RS is $180. That's $40 more than the R6, and for that you get USB-C and the different exterior panels. It's fine. I think that's a reasonable increase in price over the stock R6, as adding USB alone costs about $10, and the exterior swappable glass panels are clearly not cheap, not to mention the lighting and RGB controller. The price is fine. It's just not exciting anymore. I mean, look at this build. It looks amazing, and I haven't talked about it at all. I could fit a push-pull fan configuration on my 360mm radiator at the front of the case without breaking a sweat. I have a huge-ass graphics card installed. Custom cabling, 10 total fans. It all fits here perfectly, and it looks so good. But I could build the exact same thing in 4 other Fractal cases and it would look identical. Maybe I'm a little jaded at this point, but I just want companies to show me something that I haven't seen before, and this isn't it. So is it a bad case? No, it's not. It's actually pretty good once you swap out that top glass for something that can breathe a little bit. It's also very quiet. It's good that you now have another choice if you like the original R6 but wanted more flash, but it's just not exciting. If you like the Define R6, you can buy one. If you like the R6 but you want a water cooling focus, you can buy a Define S2. If you like the R6 but want more airflow, you can buy a Meshify S2. I'm just not sure who the person is that likes the R6 but also wants this. If you're that person, I guess let me know down below in the comments. I know this wasn't as thorough of a review from a thermal or acoustic standpoint as we usually do here, but to be fair, this is the 4th time that I've worked with one of these cases, and I wanted to maybe approach it just a little bit differently. I hope you guys don't mind. Thanks for tuning in. Whoa. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time.